People of God, take a look at some of the miracles, wonders of God that will build your faith and position you for what God is about to do. Take a look.
My name is Mary, and I'm recording this video live from Sydney in Australia. I want to give my testimony about my vitiligo. And so in 2023, my sister decided to send me a link every day. My two elder sisters in the US, every day they kept sending me the link. At the point I got angry and told them not to blow my phone because I just got tired of them sending me the link. So in January, I decided that, okay, let me just go back, and if it is just for prayer, there's nothing wrong in me joining the NSPPD prayers in the morning. And so I started the morning prayers, and I've been suffering from vitiligo, where you find out that it's like a depigmentation of your skin. It is an autoimmune disease that it cannot be cured, and it will just keep spreading. And so it started spreading. When I joined in February, and I told God, I said, God, if only you can allow Pastor to just mention this vitiligo, I know it will go off. And lo and behold, in February, Pastor just mentioned vitiligo.
I don't know who this is, but the Lord is reversing vitiligo. The Lord is reversing vitiligo. The Lord is reversing vitiligo.
I screamed, and I came upstairs and said, oh, it is me, it is me. I wrote it in the chat and said it is me, and that was the beginning of my vitiligo covering. Something that they've told me there is no way, because there is no cure for vitiligo. And so I started seeing all my skin returning, gaining back its natural color, my eyes everywhere, and I was so excited. A doctor friend of mine had to come, and she asked me, Mary, what did you do to your skin? Are you sure? And I said, what God cannot do does not exist. She was like, what is that? I said, you've not heard what God cannot do does not exist. That is my case, because they've told me there is no cure, and thank God you're a doctor and you also know there is no cure for vitiligo. But look, this is what God has done for me. Before, I cover my eyes with makeup. I spend so much on makeup so that I'll always cover it. But look at me now. Today, my eyes, my face cleared from vitiligo, and my hands, everyone in my body. And I just want to say thank you, Pastor Jerry. Thank you for that strength and waking up every morning to come on the altar to prophesy on people. It is not easy, and I just pray that God will continue to strengthen you.
My name is Alice. I'm giving this testimony from Toronto, Canada. What God cannot do does not exist. Pastor Jerry, thank you so much for all what you do for us. Sometime last year, my two brothers were diagnosed of prostate cancer. Then Pastor Jerry mentioned it one time. Two brothers have prostate cancer.
I see two brothers with prostate cancer. I see two brothers from the same father and mother suffering from prostate cancer. If you're from that family, I need you to put it. It is my family. By the power that raised Jesus from the dead, I command, let prostate cancer be reversed.
We prayed, we even sowed the seed. They are all, both of them are prostate cancer free. Thank you so much, Pastor Jerry.
I was diagnosed of malignant tumor in my breast in 2021. So I was so surprised because I go for comprehensive tests in the US virtually every other year. So my husband now said I should go for a screening and I should travel abroad. So when they did biopsy, the results came out and it was malignant. I was so scared as if I was going to die the next day. I called a friend of mine that had gone to the same treatment. She told me that there's this link I should check online so that I can be praying. The doctor told me the treatment will last for 8 months. So we continued the treatment. After 6 months, I was asked to go for another MRI. I went for another MRI. The result came out. The doctor now looked at it and told me that the type I have is the type that is resistant to treatment. A friend of mine that was staying with me now sent a link that was sent to her by her pastor. So I checked, it was the same link. I told her I wasn't interested. Another pastor of hers sent the same link to her. I ignored it. So surprisingly, my sister, that is a very strong Catholic, sent the same link to me. So I opened it and listened to it to the end. The first day, second day, I continued. I became addicted to it. So after 3 months, I came back to Nigeria. I was told by the doctor that after 1 year, I should go for a PET scan. So I went for it. I should go for a PET scan. Before I went for the PET scan, I was so scared. Pastor Jerry always says, that you are afraid of will not happen.
What you are afraid of will not happen.
So I went for the PET scan. While I was waiting for the PET scan to be carried out, people saying, that you are afraid of will not happen. That you are afraid of will not happen. Nobody cannot do this. Even while I was inside the machine, I was saying the same thing. So when the results came out after a week, I told to the doctor. The doctor now looked at it and said, there's no malignant tumor again. I've come to return all the glory to God. What God cannot do does not exist. May God bless Pastor Jerry and team. What God cannot do does not exist.
What God cannot do does not exist. What Elroy cannot do does not exist. Pastor Jerry, the Lord has done me well. I am that woman the Lord has shown great mercy. My name is Natalie Quinn, and I'm making this video from Dallas, Texas, USA. My testimony is about my daughter. A few years ago, when she was about 4 years old, she had a corrective surgery on her eyes because she had crossed eyes. And I was really against the surgery, but her pediatrician kept mounting pressure on me and saying that I should allow the surgery to take place because when she grows up like that in high school or here in school, she can be bullied about her eyes and she will feel, very lonely. So I thought about it for a very long time, and my husband and I, we gave our consent and the surgery took place. The first specialist, he reassured us that it was a very minor surgery. They were just going to pull the muscles and everything will be normal. So after the surgery, he reassured us that everything went well, the surgery was successful. But little did I know that my daughter lost her vision on one eye. She went completely blind on one eye, but I didn't know, and she was very young to be able to articulate and explain everything to me. As years went by, I noticed around 2019 or 20, thereabout, I noticed that she was having trouble seeing and having real issue. She's seeing whether being far away or close. So when I called her, I examined her as a mother, and I did some tests, putting her a little bit far and showing my finger. She couldn't see anything. She couldn't even blink that eye. So I immediately booked an appointment with that same surgeon or that same specialist who did the surgery a few years ago and a few years back, and he said we should keep coming. So we went in and he examined my daughter, and after some time, after a lot of examination and all that, he said, sorry ma'am, I'm sorry to tell you this, she has lost her vision on one eye and she's completely blind on that eye. There's nothing we can do about it. I was so devastated and weak on the chair. Didn't know what to do, and I asked the doctor, but you reassured me when you were doing the surgery that it was just a minor surgery. How come the child I was seeing cross eyes and suddenly will now lose her vision after the surgery? And he said there's nothing he could tell me, that the only advice he can give me is that the new glasses that he's about to prescribe, that I should ensure that my daughter is constantly having the glasses all the time. Even when she's showering, she should never take out the glasses so that she will not go completely blind on the other eye. I look at him, I said, what do you mean go completely blind on the other eye? He said, man, that's what I can tell you. I was so devastated and weak. And he left us there in the waiting room where we were, and went ahead and continued his business. We were just looking at me in the office because I was really down. When the Lord brought me to NSPPD by his mighty hands in 2022, that condition was always on my prayer list. So the Lord did a lot of things that were on my list. Pastor Joey, each time you were talking about eyes, blind eyes open.
Oh my God, the Lord said to me, there is mercy for blind eyes to open. There is mercy for blind eyes to open.
I would say, Lord, remember my daughter. When I pray, I will go in her room, put my eye on her face and say, Lord, remember your daughter. I've seen how you've given new organs to people. You are rubbishing sickness in this platform, and your servant has mentioned issue with eyes. I keep claiming it, and finally finally, the Lord has done it, and she's no longer wearing her eyeglasses. That has been months now. She herself threw the glasses away, and she's fine. I examined her, and she could see, far and near with that same eye. We closed the other eye, and the other eye that she couldn't see with it, she said, "Mommy, I can see." Pastor Jerry, this is an eye that even to blink she could not blink. She is so happy that the Lord has visited her, and I've come to say, thank you, Jesus. What God cannot do does not exist.
My name is Ngozi, and I'm testifying from the United Kingdom. My son was born with a cardiac disease. He has undergone 2 surgeries now, one in India and one in the UK. After the one in the UK, he had a cardiac arrest at post-surgery, and in fact, it was it wasn't an easy one for him because he started having arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats, which led to cardiac arrest. But thankfully, thanks be to God, he was brought back within 2 minutes of life. But after the surgery, he had more complications. He started having leaking valve. The doctors were like, there's nothing they could do about it because nobody wanted to operate on him for the 3rd time. They said he might not survive. So our only option was to turn to God. And this was last year, 2023, January. Jidena stayed in the hospital for 4 good months, and he was asleep, sedated for almost 2 months. He woke up at the end of the 2nd month, and all was not well because he has been sleeping for some time now, and he lost his motor movements. He lost his he didn't know how to sit again. He didn't know how to stand. He started relearning everything over again. I was the one that gave the testimony that the doctor said he wasn't going to work. Suddenly, when you were preaching on the Sunday morning, she then stood up and started working. I don't know if you can remember. This testimony focuses on this year. This year, 2024, Jidena had infection, a very serious infection that he was really coughing, really coughing, and that was in February. In January, we went to the hospital where admitted in the hospital for almost a week, and there he was also diagnosed of anemia, iron deficiency. And that's not a good thing for people with heart conditions. So it made his heart worse. His heart became enlarged, really enlarged, that nobody wanted to operate on him anymore. Well, I was even praying to God that he shouldn't undergo any other operation. And so when the doctors were saying nobody wanted to operate on him, I was like, oh, thank God, it's a good thing. At this point, where the doctors they don't have anything to do, this is where God steps in. My husband and I continue praying and praying and praying. Before his birthday, we were sent home, and I was thanking God that, Jidena didn't spend his birthday this year in the hospital. And while I was taking pictures with him, something just kept on saying in my heart that I was scared taking the pictures because he has never really had a photo shoot. So something was just, my mind was just playing pranks with me that I'm taking pictures for my son's funeral. I said, no, God forbid, I reject it in the name of Jesus. Pastor Jerry, a week after his birthday, we were rushed back to the hospital because this cough lasted for almost 2 months, and they didn't want to go. It was just there. It was becoming worse, and we didn't know what to do anymore. We were rushed back to the hospital because his oxygen level became 50 something, and when we got to the hospital, his heart, they did echo for him, and his heart was just this big, and the doctors were scared. So we had a meeting with the doctors, and they told us that Jidena was not going to leave, but they are sorry that they can't do anything about it anymore. I was the first person to take that news, and that was on the 25th of May. On the 25th of May, before we went to the hospital, while we're doing the NSPPD prayer, you kept on saying something. You said something that in the throne room verdict, we do not cry. In the throne room verdict, that we do not cry. I was not prepared for what I was going to hear about concerning my son that day. But when we went to the hospital on Tuesday of that week, the doctors told me everything, and surprisingly, I did not cry in their front because I kept on remembering that word. In the throne room verdict, we do not cry. I didn't have time to cry because I just kept on declaring that the Lion of Judah has prevailed. The Lion of Judah has prevailed. The Lion of Judah has prevailed. While we were going home, Jidena became more sick. They had to refer us to a hospice. We put on palliative care, and finally, when we were discharged from the hospital, the doctors were like, from Jidena's countenance, the doctors were like, he might not even make it to the next weekend, the next week. I just kept on praying. I cried to God, oh Lord, show me mercy. I kept on praying. Jidena was just there. He wasn't walking. He wasn't moving. He was really sick. I could see it. He was really, really sick. We were sent home with oxygens. We were sent home with palliative care goods and everything. He was even taking morphine. He was taking paracetamols. He was taking diamorphine, just to make the pain go away and let him pass without any pain. kept on praying on the altar of fire. I kept on praying. The next week, Pastor Jerry, that he thought my son was going to die. He then stopped coughing. He then stopped using his oxygen on Sunday, or I think it was on Saturday. He stopped using his oxygen. He stopped coughing. He then started moving. He came down from the chair where he's always sitting down. He came down from the chair to go and get one of his toys. Everything started aligning. Things started falling in place. The hospice team that came the previous week, when they saw Chidena, they were amazed. They were like, is this the Chidena we saw before he went home? I was like, yes, this is the Chidena. We were given an appointment because, the news got to the doctors that Chidena was still alive. We were given an appointment to, on the 31st of May. We prayed towards that day. When we got to the hospital, the doctor said that they were thrilled at how Chidena is recuperating, and he's doing so well, running up and down, playing, jumping, laughing. I want to thank you, Pastor Jerry, for this platform once again. You've given us a platform to pray and pray out ourselves. Pray to God, pray out. Thank you, Pastor Jerry. What God cannot do really does not exist.